Welcome to the channel. I am Zatesk, and you can expect rants and opinions on a variety of topics here. Today's topic: adapting to a post-scarcity world. It's no secret that productivity has risen significantly more than wages over the past century, and there are many people choosing to opt out of the old rat race for the dinner scraps on the rungs of the corporate ladder. Before humans domesticated animals or plants, subsistence hunter-gatherers worked an estimated 20 hours per week to feed and clothe themselves. Many modern people attribute the modern work weeks to how many hours it took to grow certain staple crops, with Europe's wheat needing 40 hours per week and East Asia's rice needing 70 hours per week to feed a family year-round. However, this largely ignores the struggles of the early labor movements which secured the 40-hour workweek, weekends, paid sick leave, minimum wage, and other protections workers in the West take for granted. Why then should we settle for what was considered necessary at a time before computers were invented? If a worker can do in 5 minutes now what used to take a week, then why should that worker continue to work the rest of that week for no extra pay? How many hours of our collective lives wasted just so the clock can run out? In the West, we are producing more food than we can consume, despite consuming more per capita than other regions of the world. Why not reduce the cow livestock count instead of pouring milk into the ocean? Why not reduce crop acreage instead of allowing crops to rot in parking lots? Do we really need new iPhones and FIFA games every year, or could we settle for getting a better product after 3 or 4 years of development? North America has more empty houses than homeless people, but the two don't geographically overlap significantly. What can we do about that? The virus, which shall not be named, revealed that a majority of office jobs can be done from home instantly, granting people extra personal time where they are not commuting. If the infrastructure was built near the empty houses, remote workers could spread out, allowing housing prices and rents to drop in higher density population centers, which would have a knock-on effect leading to free housing for the homeless. Kiosks at fast food locations and self-checkout at grocery stores have also demonstrated that jobs can be automated with little to no impact on the customers. When someone says your mindless repetitive task can be automated, you shouldn't have to fear for your life or losing your home. You should feel like a slave being freed. The emotional sting of progress can hurt. Even if you get to retire early, it can hurt that what you used to do is no longer necessary. The same emotional sting is felt by many who have worked hard and struggled through to repay their student loans or afford rent. If there is a future with free education and free housing, you shouldn't resent the people who benefit from it, and you shouldn't take away the freedom of future generations just for a sense of justice, as if their suffering must be as bad as yours. If people in the past acted that way, then former slaves would have fought to keep their children enslaved instead of fighting for their children's freedom. What else do you think we can be free of? Has anyone ever asked you why inflation exists? Why interest exists? Why investments grow? Fiat currency is a difficult concept for most people to wrap their heads around. A bank can loan out 190% of its vault contents even knowing some of those loans will never be repaid, but a lumber mill can't sell 190% of its wood. If you borrow a hammer from your neighbor, they don't expect you to give them back a hammer and a half, so why then are banks allowed to pretend you have more money than you were lent? If banks didn't have a profit motive anymore, which they didn't used to, they could issue loans without interest. These points may seem unrelated, but they aren't. Society is a complex calculation with many variables. Changing one value impacts hundreds others. For example, Universal Basic Income (UBI) studies have shown that every dollar given with no strings attached generates $2.5 worth of economic activity as the person who was given the money spends it, and the person who gets paid it also spends it, and the person who gets paid that spends half of it before saving. More money circulating around means more taxes for the government, which should mean more funding for infrastructure, which leads to the housing knock-on effect mentioned earlier. Housing for the homeless is shown to increase mental stability and workforce participation. Look up Housing First for more information. More workers in the workforce working fewer hours each leads to higher productivity. Fewer hours working means people can do more of their errands earlier in the day, which leads to more economic activity instead of stores and roads having rush hour. More spread out driving means fewer traffic jams and less gasoline wasted idling. Less gasoline in the atmosphere in cities means reduced carbon dioxide parts per million, which some studies have shown could lead to increased intelligence and wakefulness among the populace. Increased intelligence and wakefulness among millions or billions of people leads to invention and philosophy and problem solving, just like what happened historically with light bulbs and lanterns and coffee houses, allowing people to stay awake longer hours and discuss ideas with their peers without fear of reprisal from the governments of the time. Comment below your ideas to adapt to a post-scarcity world, or start a knock-on effect to improve society. Like and subscribe,